It's your old friend the Monday Madness. Welcome back to the return of the Jelly-Filled Donut podcast.
Here we go.
So, things about pandemics is they really ruin podcasts, don't they? All things considered, like it's the worst thing about them, really.
Remote recording just isn't the same.
It just isn't. Like
Banter isn't the same.
No, it isn't. And
Zoom calls can do only so much.
Like the delay before my witty remarks that just get ruined, like
because of my shitty internet, so you didn't actually have a witty remark to begin with.
See, whenever you left up the please applause sign, you weren't actually holding that above your camera line, so
that's it. Just fell flat. At least now we have a live studio audience. Yes, a live studio audience for this occasion. But no, guys, welcome back to the show. Again, it's been quite some time since we've done an episode like this.
Yeah.
Which is appropriate because we left it at quite like a cliffhanger, as it were.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Momentarily, but yeah, like it's been a fun year for all of us in a sense. Since the last time we did this episode, I think the last one we did was in August, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was released maybe in September. I'm sure you brought back the tape and someone will correct us, but yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a long while, and we're back at it now. Return of the fucking Ash Ketchums, apparently.
So just remind us where we left off last season.
Where we left off? Oh, well, it was just a small matter of a cruise liner sinking in the middle of the ocean and everyone dying because they angered Magikarps.
Yep.
So much so that they evolved into Gyarados, and they all died in a massive hurricane.
Caused by a dragon rage.
Dragon Rage, yes. Now,
fantastic.
Again, Dragon Rage typically doesn't do much damage. You know what you're getting with Dragon Rage.
But there was 6 Gyarados.
There was 6 Gyarados, so that with their combined power, they did 240 HP damage.
Yep.
That's how it works, apparently. It's accumulative. But yeah, anyway. But enough about the past.
So, like, we feel like that was the end of the season. That's why we took.
That's why we gave up. Yeah,
we were just like, there's,
Like
he was the worst trainer ever, and he died at sea.
Exactly. Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. We thought he was working on the Nuzlocke rules. So once Ash was gone, he's gone. He's done. Yeah. He's not coming back. He gets replaced by another more capable trainer.
If only. And
that capable trainer didn't appear, so we have to go back to Ash, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yes, so we are going to jump right back in where we left off.
Okay.
With the episode Island of Giant Pokémon, which is a bit of a spoiler, I'll be honest, because it's an episode all about an island of giant Pokémon.
Yep.
And it's almost definitely not an episode about getting the corpses of our heroes out from the sea.
I think they distract from that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on behind the curtain.
Okay.
And the curtain is the giant Pokemon.
It's a giant Pokemon. Yeah. So they're throwing giant Pokemon at you to distract you from the fact that everyone died horribly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would probably say though that all other things aside, this is probably the episode that I remember from whenever we were kids.
This one certainly rang a few bells.
Oh no! Like this, I think might have been the first episode that I had seen as a 6-7-year-old.
Yeah.
And this is like, here's this crazy thing that's taken over Japan at the minute. This was my introduction of like, what the fuck? And this is in no way indicative of what the rest of the show is.
Not whatsoever, no.
Not at all.
They're not like massive fucking kaijus having scraps like. Yeah, it's a bit misleading, I'll be honest. I mean, it took them about 20 years to get to that stage, and they had to do it in fucking Britain of all places. So.
I loved this episode as a kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it because you had your introduction, albeit you don't really realise it, of the legendary.
As well.
You have the boss of Team Rocket, you've got the legendary, you've got Zapdos and Moltres. I don't know if Articuno was mentioned in or
no.
But yeah, you've got and then you've got like Kabutops and things like that are extinct, but they haven't even got to that bit, or
it was just a random Pokemon in the sense. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So yeah, I loved it. It was one of the ones where if I saw it was that episode coming on, I was happy because I actually liked from the Pokemon's point of view, seeing what they thought about things and kind of seeing their personalities and stuff. So
that's it.
Awful shame that it never gets revisited again.
It doesn't really it's a bit of a
ever
pity.
As far as I'm aware. You never get
or it's in very short and small between
it's not an entire episode worth
or it's basically Chewbacca rules where he growls and everyone agrees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into it then. So we have a rundown. So obviously we get the recap of the last episode about how the Gyarados almost certainly killed our heroes and they're never coming back. And again they end up losing their grip, and the narrator says twist of fate as he chuckles into his paycheck. And then we get to our title card and it cuts to a beautiful sunny beach, a large blue ocean, and a big ass conch shell in the background, which is ironically foreshadowing for the end of the episode, which is weird, but we'll get to that. It pans up to see the main characters washed up on a beach. So sorry lads, spoilers, they're not actually dead.
Pity.
Yeah, it's a pity. I thought we were getting someone capable, but alas, apparently Neptune and Poseidon were both feeling generous on this day. Or
like, can we not just follow AJ, the Sand Shrew trainer?
He is having a much better competition himself at the moment. Like, he's already Pokemon champion at this rate. Like, I mean, they were watched out of sea for 3 months. You know, like, if we work in real time from when we started the podcast, they were at sea for a year.
Yeah.
So a lot has happened in that time, you know. But so yes, Ash is the first to wake up. He's obviously confused, which is his natural behaviour pattern. He tries to wake up Misty and Brock, who both do the same, and they ask the same question Ash did. Where is everybody? What's happening? Ash tries to find Pikachu, only to realise that he's only got 2 Pokeballs left.
The only 2 that they don't bother personifying at all.
Yeah. Not at all, yeah. Like, obviously, like, Pidgeotto and Butterfree were a bit too problematic to put on screen. You know, they had a lot of very
racist,
extreme views, yeah.
I do think that would have, like, all they would have had to do is fly above the tree line later on in the episode and be able to find, you know, it just would have, you know.
Oh, right, yeah, because they would have seen, they would have realised the gimmick.
Yeah.
So why didn't Ash use them?
That's a good point.
Because he's the worst.
Oh, he's stupid, that's why, yeah, there we go. The next one we get then is a Krabby, who's shivving along the beach, having great fun. He sees Jesse and James half buried in the sand like fucking carrots. We get some shifty eyes from Krabby, and then it pokes both of them in the legs, and then just like does like a really kind of like creepy like.
Oh yeah, he is such a shit star.
Yeah, like fucking wandering hands Krabby, like, you know, just like, and then, so he starts looking excited, and then clasping, and then he pinches both of them at the same time, and he fucking sketches away.
Yep.
Which I'm annoyed by, because he sketched towards the camera. He's a crab. He should go that way. He should go to the left.
Yeah.
Not fucking.
Just for the audience at home.
Yes.
They can't see what way you pointed there.
Oh no, they can hear my wind direction. It's fine. You know, it's like he should go like diagonal away from the camera, not like fucking straight at us. You know. It just goes to show you, like, Pokemon just, like, the creators of Pokemon just don't know animals.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, you know, that's why they based them all off of them. But either way, they both land and realise they survived again, which presumably this means it's a commonplace instance for Team Rocket. I suppose they keep blasting off every episode.
Yeah,
so.
How is this any different from their normal blasting off?
Yeah.
Well, they've learned how to land. Is the thing. Like, they've learned how to be able to take the bump. Like, if they're gonna be falling from a height, they know how to tuck and roll. You know, kind of way. So I think that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And they call themselves completely invincible, which is really not the case. And obviously they realise Meowth isn't there, and then both Ekans and Coughing are also missing. So it's not that they actually recognised. But we did actually get some very crucial backstory here about this. It turns out Ekans was in fact a birthday present for Jessie, whereas Coughing was a Christmas present. Now, I'm not saying they're bad presents, but if you're given a literal bag of gas to someone as a Christmas present, that is not a good sign.
No, just pointing out, and we'll probably see, I can't remember if it's in the Indigo League or if it's later on in it, James's backstory says that he had a Growly as a kid. Yeah. So how disappointing is he in his parents' eyes to go from having like a fantastic dog to getting a gaseous ball? He
probably tried to evolve the Growlithe and like ended up giving like a fucking like just a fake stone and kept like rubbing the stone on the dog. It's like, we have to get rid of this dog. Like, he's tormenting the fucking thing. You know, or just ran away. You never know. But yeah, it's a bit of a downgrade, I'll be honest, in terms of presents. But yeah,
why didn't he keep the Growlithe?
I don't think the Growlithe wanted to be in this. Like, Growlithe's too proud to be part of Team Rocket. Like, you know, he probably saw like the way the wind was blowing and said, I'm gonna go be with like a protagonist. So I'll try to later. The wolf. So yeah, they've also completely flat broke, which is I think now established to be like a common thread. It's almost as if like spending all this money on extravagant props and traps and designs really does burn a hole through your budget, you know. But there you go.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so Jessie then falls to her knees as James knows a phone booth right on the beach.
Yep.
Because that's fine.
Because that makes absolute sense.
It does. Like, again,
like in a beach that is assumed to be uninhabited.
A desert island. It's assumed to be desert island. Yeah.
And then you see a phone booth which has a power cable going into it, and it's like logic would dictate that it's not an abandoned island or it's not uninhabited.
Yes.
And you probably shouldn't panic.
Complete tangent on this, but Digimon had at the very beginning of it, here's an abandoned beach and phone boxes as well. Just a complete circumstance.
So are you saying that one is trying to copy off the other?
I don't know which one came first in this case.
Fight here, James.
Which one came first here?
Why don't you launch your own Digimon podcast? Then? I think
in fairness, that show was
the D word here.
That show was better than Pokemon.
Don't say that in front of people. Holy shit! Are you trying to get us cancelled? We're only back, man. What the fuck? Jesus Christ! Sorry, lads. Sorry, he's new. Anyway, so yeah, they kind of work away trying to make the phone work, and then realize, oh yeah, I actually do need loose change for it, and then we leave it there for them for the time being. We do then get a separate shot then of 3 Pokeballs in the sand. Pikachu walks up and in subtitles realises they're ashes. I'm not sure how, presumably from the scent of them. And he taps out all 3 and out come the 3 starters. Charmander, Pikachu, or Charmander, Bulbasaur and Squirtle even.
You know, the ones that you can make teddies of.
Exactly. The 3 cute ones.
Yeah.
Because who wants a Butterfree? Am I right, guys?
Who wants a pigeon? Who wants a pigeon teddy?
You never know, actually.
I'd say they'd sell.
Yeah. Probably a Pidgey.
A Pidgey, but maybe not a Pidgey Auto.
No, Pidgeotto would. Pidgeotto would have been the kind of like the easiest one to sell, I'd say, because like it's the middle one. It's a good size. It's a decent size and doesn't look like either like big as Pidgeot or like scrawny like Pidgey. It's like a nice halfway house, you know. But what do I know? I'm not a marketer. Anyway. So again, they try and figure out where they are. So again, from this kind of point on, like most of them are subtitled. There's like 1 or 2 scenes that are kind of like kept to the Pokemon that we don't need to know that. You know, it's private talk. You know, where they're all chatting shit about humans, presumably. But yeah, and obviously they keep...
Do you remember that time she used water gun against electric type?
What an idiot. Why are we still palling around? I don't know, it's funny. so yeah, they all look around, they can't figure out where they are, and Pikachu looks around then and sees a Slowpoke lying on a rock. So they go up to the Slowpoke and they ask where they are. No response from the Slowpoke. Clues in the name, lads. You could be waiting a while, you know. Like, I don't know if this is a great comparison, but that scene just reminded me of like of Tom from Father Ted.
Yes.
Just like sitting on the fucking signpost, like with the iShot JR, just going like, yeah, you're asking the wrong person for directions there, aren't you? Like I'm half expecting the Slowpoke to turn around and go, kill the man. or pull its tail up and go, doesn't it look like a face? Well, yeah. So the Charmander thinks it's deaf and like presumably shouts louder, looking for help. And again, Slowpoke is completely in its own world here. Stands up and then reverses back into the sea and dips its tail into the water. Yeah. I did want reversing noises as part of this, but you know,
beep, beep,
I don't think it's that big to do it. You know.
Oh.
Pity. But so yeah.
But again, just Squirtle being as chill as he is, did not give a flying feck.
Yeah, like they're grand, like they're in the natural habitat here.
Absolutely.
Like, you know?
Yeah, it's like they're at the edge of the forest, so Bulbasaur's happy out. Yeah. And Squirtle's by the beach, and like, you know, is missing his cool shades.
Yeah, that's true. That is the one downside of all this. We lost the sunglasses.
Yeah,
that's it. That was the one great loss from this whole Dragon Rage situation. So yes, Squirtle and Bulbasaur enjoy the sun instead, while everyone else stresses out about getting home. Quickly then, we see night falling, and the 4 are walking through a wooded area. Charmander leading the way with his little lantern tail, which again is so fucking useful, to be honest. Yeah. That's why we keep him around. So Pikachu doesn't see Ash and those guys anywhere. You don't know if they're talking about Team Rocket or the other 2.
I would imagine it's the other 2, but I do like how they haven't bothered to learn the other 2's names.
Red-haired girl and pervert. Yeah. I don't know. I can't pick them out.
Again, sorry. Which pair are you talking about?
We'll leave that to your imagination, folks. Which one Pikachu rather have, like, you know. Because again, they're just bullying Jesse and James for sport now at this point, you know. So you never know. Anyway, so
but yeah, no, Charmander having the lantern,
yes,
was one of the best parts of it. You know, just like gave so much character to him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, like this reason.
It makes sense. It makes sense for him to have it, you know, to use it. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Getting so emotional thinking about that lantern. No, Charmander. Too close to the water. Get away. Don't you know those waves could kill you?
It is quite irresponsible. Like, at least put like a little bag over it or something. You know, keep the water off it, lads. Anyway, So Charmander thinks they disappeared, while Squirtle thinks wild Pokemon have eaten them, and then does like a little like biting motion.
I've always liked Squirtle, and I love.
He's a cheeky fucker, isn't he?
That's 100% the kind of route I would go if I was in there.
So you're the Squirtle of the group.
I'm gonna.
You're gonna wind everybody up, like
Sunglasses suit me.
Yes, that's why you're wearing them right now, even though we're indoors and it's fucking as overcast as it gets.
Yeah.
And you're wearing glasses anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got sunglasses over glasses.
Yeah.
On the darkest day we've had in about 2 weeks. Yeah. Anyway, so Pikachu Charmander obviously correct him, and then Bulbasaur really drops the tone and says, "Hey, you forgot about us."
I like how Bulbasaur is the Eeyore of the group.
He is though, isn't
the
he?
Winnie the Pooh Eeyore is like,
He's a miserable bastard.
Great.
Is what he is.
I've been abandoned again.
This is the third time this year. You can see why he's been abandoned. That's his fucking attitude. It's just like, I'm actually surprised it wasn't Charmander like that. Like Charmander had gone from being literally abandoned by
Charmander.
As you have forgotten, James, that he is a Scouser and therefore doesn't feel such emotions like loneliness. But like I said, there is at least some level of personality in them, and Bulbasaur is just a miserable. The misery guts that every group has to have by law.
Yeah.
And if you don't think you have a person in your group that's a misery guts, well done, it's you. So Bulbasaur then is corrected on that as well, and then we see Meowth, Coffin and Ekans peeking from higher ground as Meowth realises they're missing their trainers too. Uh-huh. So Meowth, still in the Team Rocket mindset, steps out and tells them to surrender, which is cute. It's really cute that he thinks it's going to work.
I like how their response is just like, it's just Meowth.
Oh, it's the Meowth. Oh, it's sick now. So Meowth does try the an abridged model as if that's going to work, and Pikachu literally just says it's just Meowth.
Yeah.
We have literally nothing to worry about here. We have literally the shittest Pokemon on staff here. And proving the point, Meowth then falls over and thinks the model is losing its power. Yeah, it's definitely the model is the problem.
That's the issue.
Not the fact that you keep getting it wrong and your two people that actually can steal Pokemon are not there. Yeah, no, it's definitely the model. So, again, Meowth then tries to command Ekans and Coughing, and to absolutely no success whatsoever. He keeps trying, and both say that Meowth is not master and won't obey.
You'd think he would have tried, okay guys, here's the game plan. We're going to bum rush them. Okay guys, here's the plan. Ekans, you do this.
I think that's what was happening. Like off screen, I think like he was doing all the talking, and like Ekans and Coughing were going like, we are fucking leaving him the second we get a chance. He will literally not stop talking, Again, he's the kind of the drunk guy on a night out you're trying to avoid.
Yeah.
It's just like, right, he's hit the cliff, let's all get the fucking cab to fucking rockets and we're done. So, anyway, he keeps trying, and nothing's working. And we then kind of see the two trainers kind of blend over the Pokemon, further reinforcing that's who the masters are.
Yeah.
In case you got hit in the head.
The redhead and the pervert.
Exactly, yeah. That's why we saw Misty and Brock suddenly appear. Mystery to us all. But Meowth then says he's twice as smart as those two, but Ekans says master is master, which it kind of really summarises the Pokemon mindset, because that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Like once you're caught, you're theirs. So it doesn't matter which way you want to cut it. Meowth says they don't need a master to go and do bad things, but Ekans says by saying Pokemon aren't bad guys.
Yeah, and I did like this. This kind of gave them a bit more
character.
Yeah, so you kind of see that like it's just the humans. Telling them to do bad things.
Yes.
It's but they themselves aren't bad.
I can't wait to see this get explored in the future whenever Ekans starts to go through a moral crisis whenever Jesse asks him to do something that he shouldn't do.
I want to see that happening. There's like moral crises in a children's cartoon.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we've been missing all this time.
I mean, any children's show with an anti-hero.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's what Ekans needs to be now.
Ekans is an anti-hero. Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Ekans, the snake with a conscience.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Ekans, the backward snake.
In one way, more ways than one. So Ekans says it's only because the master's bad that Pokemon do bad things, as we just said. Meowth then has a brief existential crisis as he realises, that means I didn't have to be bad as well. But then again, I really do like money, so fuck it. So the four hero Pokemon start squaring up to Meowth, and he calls out for help. Only see Ekans and Coughing drinking tea, which is perfectly fine for Ekans because it has the tail and can hold the cup. How does Coughing get the tea? Just presumably just submerge himself in the tea and suck it up that way, like. I
would imagine that, or like the puffs of smoke and gas kind of levitate the cup up to his mouth.
Oh, so he's trying to get like a poison gas up to it, like.
Yeah.
Like a little neck. Oh yeah, maybe yeah. we obviously didn't see that there, so we have to assume.
Yeah.
These are the questions we have to ask these episodes,
I'd say more he raised it up above his head and tipped the tea onto himself.
I was thinking that myself.
Not gracefully at all.
Yeah, just like boom. He's actually balancing it on his head.
I do like the idea of him dunking himself like a biscuit in it.
Coughing, the digestive Pokemon. So Meowth then obviously tries
coughing noir.
Coughing, ooh, that's good. That's good, I like that. So yeah,
Biscoffing.
Biscoffing, and Rick Nash, you just found your title of the episode. Good luck with that fucking Photoshop. So Meowth then decides to call in the draw. The campfire set up as Ekans, Coughing, and Nash's 4 Pokemon are settled around eating fruit. And they actually are proper fruit. Like I saw a Pecha Berry there, which we'll see in a couple of gens time.
Yeah.
There's a few others there. It's actually, you can see like the different diets, because like the Team Rocket ones were eating like really kind of like bright fruit, and then all of Ash's crowd were on apples, because
I've just noticed the apples in it.
Yeah, like literally, I think it's a case like that may be the only fruit Ash knows about.
So they don't even know that there's other fruits available.
Yes, which would make sense.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Because like there's no such thing as fruit in Gen 1.
Yeah.
It was all potions and drugs.
Yeah.
Basically.
Fresh water. More expensive than potions.
Yes, absolutely. And does the same effect. Well, again, have you seen the price of Bally down lately? It's fucking ridiculous, lads. So, Pikachu asks what they're doing, and Ekans replies they're looking for Master. So, obviously they're having the same conversation they had with Meowth earlier on. Squirtle says that they were saying that too, while Bulbasaur says they've abandoned them. So again, really a real cheerful guy to be around. Rocket's Duo obviously hear this and think it's the same for them, and they're obviously a lot more insecure about it, knowing who their masters are. But obviously Pikachu and Charmander, the actual baby faces of the group, are reassuring them. Meowth is then tied up to a nearby tree and asks if he can stop chatting and give him some food. The answer is no. Squirtle then asks if he's sorry, if he's really, really sorry, and Meowth doesn't apologise, so Squirtle says no food. And
I don't think Squirtle would have ever given him the food anyway. It would have been, are you sorry?
Are you sure? And then holding it up to Meowth as he's tied up and can't eat it, and like, nah, I don't think you are.
Are you sorry? Are you really sorry?
No, wait.
Are you really, really sorry?
I dropped on the floor.
No, what he would have done is he would have had like, here's a lovely hot plate of soup, and then spit water into it. Bon appetit. That would have been good. So yeah, he doesn't get anything anyway. He keeps shouting off until a rumble nearby stops him in his tracks.
Yep.
Sounds like large footsteps, and we see one massive print land nearby. Giant Pokemon rears up and roars as the Pokemon shriek in fear. We see it looming in the distance, and it's a Rhydon. Yeah. Actual proper Rhydon. They all run away as Meowth is in awe of the size until he realises he's still tied to the tree. So Meowth then begs to be untied until we see Pikachu doing exactly that. So Meowth's still too proud to say thanks. He just said, I could have got it myself. That's definitely why I wasn't shrieking for help.
I mean, Pikachu put him in that situation. Why thank him for saving him from something that Pikachu...
Well, we don't know Pikachu, did it? That could have easily
been... It was probably Squirtle.
It was probably one of Squirtle's pranks, yeah.
Oh no, it could have been Bulbasaur with a Vine Whip.
I say Bulbasaur was told to do it by Squirtle. Like it was a joke between the two of them, or better yet, maybe just Ekans was fucking sick of his shit, Coughing knocks him out with poison gas, then Ekans ties him up, job done. So yeah, obviously Pikachu calls out for Ash before scarpering away. Speaking of, we see Ash run through a wooded area along with Misty and Brock, and we see a silhouette of what looks like Zapdos, sparkling lighting.
Ah, fantastic.
Indeed. Obviously we don't know what it is first, but we know what it is. So he sparks lightning, makes Ash stuff recover, sparks overhead and flies away, and all three wait for the coast to be clear and react to what they've seen. Brock says it's one of the most incredible Pokemon he's ever seen, remarking to Ash that this is a dangerous place and need to find somewhere to stay for the night. Ash agrees and hopes internally that his Pokemon will be alright.
Now, was that Zapdos double-sized? Or, was it a giant Zapdos compared? Or...
I mean, as far as I recall, all those legendary birds are around the same size, which is about 7 foot. It's not necessarily that big, like there's humans the size of Articuno, is what I'm saying. So I think they're like maybe double the size, maybe.
Right.
Or at least almost to scale to show how like awesome they are, if you know what I mean. You can see all the detail. So then, after that, we get a smash cut to a fireball up the arse of Jesse and James as they're running through the more wooded areas. they're being chased by what seems to be Moltres, who's spouting fire above them. James tries to ask what it is as they both smash into a keep out sign, which is our first clue that this island is not quite what it seems.
Yeah.
Moltres flies off as the two slump to the floor, agreeing that hiding behind the good sign was a good idea. So there you go. I don't know if they maybe haven't got to Arlecchino yet, because like that's a lot more like budget there for the two of them, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
It did, like the fact that the legendary birds are kind of spoken as being legendary and no one really knows what they are or whatever. Would that have been the attraction of the site, as we're going to find out? That we've got the legendaries and stuff like that. So maybe they don't know what Arlecchino is meant to look like, so they just didn't make
That's
it.
That's it, yeah. No one's ever been down south to the sea for miles because it's so fucking cold. Like, I don't know why that is as well. It's a real mystery to us all why it's that cold.
I'm actually been thinking, does the Indigo season look at Arlecchino? Like, does Arlecchino have an episode in the series at all?
I do know.
Filler or not?
I thought it was part of the movie, but I could be wrong. I think I'm getting my episodes and movies mixed up.
Yeah.
It's in the Orange Islands. Definitely.
It's in the Orange Islands. Lugia film.
Lugia film, yeah. But I don't recall if it's in the Indigo League section. Yeah, I'm not too sure now.
I know Moltres has an episode whenever it comes to like the Pokemon Olympics or whatever it's called.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
But I don't remember if the other ones have.
Well, we'll have to watch it.
We will get there in about...
Wade through the filler and find out in 3 years.
I was going to say, we'll get that in about 7 years' time, going by our current record. So yes, this is where we get cut to commercial then. And
Who's that Pokémon?
Thank you for that splice. So yeah, obviously we don't need ad breaks here on this show, but we do need a Who's That Pokemon.
Yep.
So previously on that, because again it's been 9 months since we've done a fucking episode. If in case you don't know, basically one of us each week gets to pick a Pokemon and has to give out clues to the rest of us to try and get them. If you get it first time, it's maximum 5 points, but every time you get it wrong, between the two of us, as it were, the person gives us another clue and then diminishes the points until basically we run out of points to get. So the current scoring, as we left it, Burkbot, I'm afraid to say you're on 13 points. And I say that because I'm second on 24. So even if you get like a perfect run in the session we're doing, you'll at least match James, which is good. It's not terrible, you know. No pressure.
Okay.
All right, and James currently leading the way then on 27. So,
but since this is my turn to present the Pokemon, I don't get it. I have no chance to get.
You won't be scoring, so it's a case of like, who do you want to win less?
Yep. So, going to go. I have my one picked out here.
So we start off with the Dex entry typically, and we go from there then. So the Dex entry first, and then we crack on from there.
Yep. So I'm going to give the Ruby entry first.
Okay.
Okay. It eats small insects and moss off of rocks. If the ocean current turns fast, this Pokemon anchors itself, wrapping its tail around rocks or coral to prevent being washed away.
In a weird way, the tail is throwing me off.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give Burkbot the first guess.
Cloyster.
Okay.
Cloyster, yeah. I do reckon it's a water. You said it hits itself on the coral, is it?
Yes.
With its tail.
Yeah. Anchors itself by wrapping its tail around rocks or coral to prevent being washed away.
Is it Omanyte?
No.
Right. So we're both
okay, so both down one. In Pokemon Yellow, it can be caught on routes 10, 11, 12, 13 and Vermilion City. Burkbot?
It really means I have played Pokemon Yellow, but Horsey.
Jonathan?
I'm going with Seal.
Burkbot got it.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Happy days. Nicely done.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Burpbot, that gets you up to 17. So, you're off the mark at least.
Okay.
That's a start, isn't it?
It's not bad. Not the worst.
Yeah, there you go.
It's still good.
It's still good, yeah, absolutely. So, happy days on that front. So, in that case, we move back then to the show. So, we return from commercial to see the Pokemon huddled behind a makeshift food cart, which again, another bit of a hint that like something's a bit off about this island.
Yeah, with a Slowpoke.
A Slowbro chef.
Slowbro chef.
Yeah, a slow chef even.
I mean, given that the show has done like zany cutaways like that in it, I didn't think too much of like a random food cart showing up. I just thought that's a joke that probably made more sense to the Japanese audience.
It's a Pokemon need to eat too, so let's just have them a big fuck off carvery in a sense. Yeah. So yeah, we see some nice hot food and drink provided. Ekans and I love the personality here. You can see what these fuckers are like on a night out. So you've got Ekans and coughing, crying as Pikachu's trying to calm them down. So they're obviously just been rejected by somebody and can't get over it. Charmander's nibbling on a skewer, so he's the drunk eater. You know, he's the one that wants to go for a fucking bacon cheese
kebabs.
That's it. He's that fucker. And Bulbasaur is trying to like wants to have a scrap at Squirtle. He's going, dude, it's just a prank, bro. Just a prank. So we know Bulbasaur is the angry drunk. Squirtle's a pranker. We've established that. Meowth is passed out. He's the lightweight. And all the while Slowbro is there with a it's a Slowbro with like a bow on his head and just fanning himself, completely oblivious to the conversation, which is great.
Yep. As any good bartender would be.
In fairness, like he's just there going, please order something. I'm melting here.
Yep.
So Pikachu and Ekans are seen deep in conversations. The camera pans out. It's the sounds of everyone chatting to each other.
Oh, like drunk, meaningful conversations.
Like
best friends in the bathroom.
That's it. Yeah. It's not that. It's in whatever case. That's why it wasn't subtitled, because they're all clearly fucking hammered.
Yeah.
Like that's why all of it was unintelligible. Like, no one knew what they were talking
about. You're my best friend.
Bulbasaur. What the fuck is Squirtle saying?
Jeez, dude, you're not a fire type. You've had too much. No, put that down. I'll see you put it down. You're on fire. So the next morning, and we see the Pokemon are huddled up together. Ekans wrapping himself around them. Pikachu first to wake up as the sun rises. It's actually quite a nice little endearing image.
And even how they had found a bit of shelter under a bush.
Yeah, that's it. They all work together, it's great. Again, just to show you that humans really are the problem. Which is kind of an ongoing theme for the next few episodes, I've noticed. Anyway, so Pikachu's the first to wake up. Sun rises. Ash and Misty and Brock are waking up from a cave, while Jessie and James wake up from the keep out sign, presumably heavily concussed.
Yep.
Which is won't make a difference with Jessie and James, to be fair. They immediately start running for cover. They just wake up and start running. Like literally, it's like a default setting from the night before. And all the while, like James going like, "Why are we running?" And then Jessie has a plan, so she goes and makes a phone call, and they remind her that James goes, he's saying, "We don't have any money." But we can call the operator. I said, "Well, why didn't you do that yesterday?"
Yeah.
It took you an entire day to realise, oh shit, zero. Job done. So through the operator, she gets to call the boss of Team Rocket, as Jane flinches in fear of knowing what's going to happen next, because it's a return call, so Team Rocket's paying the bill for it, which is gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
always good to call your boss and make them pay for it.
Yes,
and immediately started off with like your Pledge of Allegiance, eating up 2 minutes of the call.
That was again, I haven't worked for jobs that would do that, but if anyone's out there that has a motto in their place of work, if you had to recite that every single time you talk to somebody on the phone, you'd go insane, or you just go and join the circus, which you don't have to do that shit for. I assume, maybe. But yes, with a modulated voice, we partially see the boss, which we will later find out to be Giovanni.
What?
Giovanni, yeah. Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. Giovanni.
No.
Yeah.
No,
that's him, yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
That is him, yeah, it is. It is, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he is paying for the call, of course. So we see a Persian lounging on a nearby bed. Again, we wouldn't know what that's like, having like a big lanky animal sleeping around in the general vicinity. So he asks why they've called him this early in the morning. And again, he does, even with the modulation, he sounds really fucking annoyed at that.
Like,
what are you doing? It's 6 a.m. And he goes, they will, but first they have to do the motto, and they do it. And then they make the letter R with the telephone cord, as if that makes a blind bit of difference to the
a
boss
guy
on the phone.
who's on a call.
Yes.
There's no video calls back in these days.
No.
So, yeah.
Unless you're talking to Oak.
Yeah, Oak has a hookup.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. Oak has a hookup. But rightfully the boss calls them nitwits because, like, it is a case, it just actually more sounds like a prank call more than anything else, doesn't it? And he scolds it for annoying him and hangs up. And Jessie goes, "This is fine. Just definitely part of the plan." So she goes, they'll have to get off this island themselves and prove themselves to Team Rocket.
Presumably not for the first time.
I think this is a very regular occurrence for Jessie and James. So James then says, well, the phone didn't help at all, but Jessie says it will, because they're going to pull themselves along the cord until they get to the telephone company.
Because that makes all the sense. Like, why they have to pull themselves along it when they can just follow it with their eyes?
The telephone box gives them protection from Zapdos and Moltres.
They did say that, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
In fairness, if you're being hunted and you have some kind of protective box around you, I am behind Team Rocket on that.
They have learned from the Beedrill incident when they got stabbed to death for having cardboard. Then they got like hard plastic, so they've improved.
Yeah.
It's still very shatterable glass, but apart from that, it's fine. You know, so obviously this plan will get them off the island. So they think. So we see the Pokemon wandering around the clearing. We see Pikachu and Squirtle, Charmander calling for Ash, Misty and Bart respectively, which is kind of nice. You can see which one they kind of like favour the most. Bulbasaur couldn't give a flying shit, of course. Coughing things are gone. Ekans is kind of the nicer of the two in a sense. Like no, come on, you know, they'll still be around.
Yep.
So then we see Ash, Misty and Brock doing the exact same thing, and they're calling out for the same Pokemon, except for Brock actually cares about Bulbasaur, which is nice.
No. What about Misty's Pokemon? What about Brock's Pokemon?
They were fine.
So Brock has a Zubat.
Yep.
Which could be used to find the others.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Staryu and Starmie can float, as we see in the next few episodes.
Yeah.
So they could have hovered around like fucking
and done
drones.
A rescue search.
Could have climbed on top of Onyx, got a bird's eye view. Fuck, Geodude floats.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yeah, he bounces like boom, boom, boom.
Is he supposed to bounce? I just thought Geodude floated.
He could float. I always remembered him bouncing because like he's able to like push himself off, but he's a rock, so he's gonna fucking fall to the ground either way. Like, you know, unless he has like a magnet underneath him that keeps him above. Like, you know.
No idea.
I don't believe he has levitating ability, James. That's why I'm basing this off. You know, he's a Geodude, not a fucking Magnemite. You know, like anyway. So they obviously they wonder what's going on. But then we cut to Jessie and James pulling their way down in the phone booth, and they stop when they see a Pikachu walking towards them in the distance.
Yep.
And like a happy little face, like trundling along, like no bother to it, and they think it's a mirage because the Pikachu hasn't seen them and isn't worried or like, you know, running away or anything like that. It's actually keeps coming towards them. So they decide, this is our best chance to steal Pikachu. So they kick the door out of the phone booth and spring a surprise using the phone cord. I'm not sure what they were going to do. Presumably strangle the Pikachu.
Yep.
But at least you have to use what you have there. So they do that only for the Pikachu to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Gigantamaxim?
Yes. No. It just further proves that the Pikachu was not in fact small. It was far away. And then the closer it got, the bigger it got. And then it was like it was absolutely a mirage because that fucking massive thing destroyed the telephone box. And James,
the Bigachu.
Yes, he called it Bigachu, which
fantastic.
Is fantastic. Yeah, that's great. That is absolutely wonderful. So it tramples over the phone box as Jessie and James dodge recover. The Bigachu moves away, and we see Ash, Misty, and Brock look upwards, and they see a Charizard roaring and spouting flames all over the shop. And they take cover by nearby rock. Again, same idea. Charizard is just much bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
You know? Which is the running theme of what we see next.
That was always something that disappointed me. Charizard's supposed to only be like 4 foot or 5 foot tall.
I think about 6 or 7 foot. Yeah.
No, it's only supposed to be about 5 foot.
It's not that.
You'd have your thoughts of like any adult would be like being able to ride on it, and no, it's the height of you.
Yes.
So
if anything, it's probably smaller for most.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have picked Venusaur. You could have ride around like a taxi. Or Blastoise and actually just like propel like a fucking railgun to your next destination.
Absolutely.
You know, but so that's an idea for later. The Pikachu moves on. We see the Charizard, and we next see Charmander remarking at the size of something, until we see the back of a giant Blastoise. So They ask if it's a relation of Squirtle. Meowth explains what it is. That's an evolved form.
It's blue. You're blue. You look the same. You speak its language.
That is racist, sir. That is racist.
You looked exactly the same to me.
Yeah, honestly, this is why you don't. This is why no one likes you. All right, from these hot takes. Pikachu then suggests, "Why don't you ask for directions?" So Squirtle, cautious as ever, gives it a go, and he says, "Yo, brother," which I think just seems to upset the Blastoise even more.
Yeah.
He chickens out and asks about the weather. So Blastoise targets its cannons and shoots water at the Squirtle and the others. And they run away to see a giant Venusaur nearby.
Yep.
So again, Squirtle then passes the baton and says, maybe you should talk to it, to Bulbasaur, because they're like family. Which is a bit like not as risque as it were than Meowth's idea. Bulbasaur says no, saying that has no family. It's an orphan. I'm Batman. Squirtle calls it a coward to end that scene. So we see some train tracks then as Jesse and James runs along with the cord, and they say it's a nightmare. And as they do, we see a giant Kabutops following them, tearing above the trees, which is a good visual to use. Because if you see that, you absolutely think you're going to die.
Yeah, they are creepy things at the best of times, and when they're giant form, you wouldn't want to be.
Especially with the two massive sides for arms. That's the dead giveaway there. So you see a rail cart, they jump in, they pull the lever, only for the cart to go back the way they came. So the cart shoots through the Kabuto's legs, and the cord that they were using pulls at one of the legs and drags Kabutos along. Again, bit of a red flag here. There's something not quite right about this. You'd like to think the Kabutos would make a fuss about being dragged along. Yeah. So they decide to pull the brake and run for it on the count of 3. They pull the lever and it snaps off. They really don't make them like they used to, lads. They're now on a runaway train dragging a massive Kabutos along. Ash, Misty and Brock are seen running along a rock bridge as a giant Pikachu towers up beside them as well. So it's like, as they're running, it emerges from the rock formation, which is great.
Yeah. And
they stop in to see how big it is. I genuinely think for a second Ash thinks that's his Pikachu, just somehow has eaten like a gimmick, essentially from Willy Wonka or something. Yeah. That's about it.
Or has Ash become really, really small?
That was entirely possible. Like those typhoons can do that to you. I read that somewhere. So they stop and they see how big it is, and they see a dust cloud from the runaway train in the distance. They wonder what it is. But the bridge collapses, oddly enough, and they land on the rail car on top of Team Rocket. The Pikachus now get dragged along as well. So we see finger pointing and shouting in the rail car that's zooming along. Jesse and James say they should hand over Pikachu. Only see the giant Pikachu right behind it. Yep. It's like, yeah, we'll take that one actually. Yeah, that's much better. But yeah, they try that, and Misty points something out at the distance, and it's a Charizard and Blastoise chasing something. And indeed, it was actually the Pokemon running ahead of them. So Ash sees them, and the rail car is all too quick for them, unfortunately. So Misty says they'll be trampled if they don't do something. Ash then says, hey, well, maybe let's start the cart. And they show up to the brake and go, yeah, that's not a flyer, unfortunately.
And then Ash says, I need a break. And it's like, yes, we've just established that.
That is literally the problem we have right now. So yes, more trouble ahead then, as Misty notices, there's a loop-de-loop on the way. So again,
as you do,
like,
of course, standard feature on a train car.
You can tell it's not a mining car, put it that way, because you would lose all of that fucking ore fairly quickly. So yeah, Jesse hates roller coasters and tells them to stop the ride, but they go into the loop anyway. The Pokemon are still running away at this point, but thankfully the loop does give the Pokemon a chance to catch up, and Jesse thinks they're going to crash into something. At which point Ash tells the Pikachu to jump in, and they dramatically and heroically vault into the train cart. So now you've got like 5 humans and 7 fucking Pokemon in there, stinking up the place. So again, we get the order. Again, it's quite nice how it's done, where like the Pokemon who clearly have an affinity for each other, with the humans all catch each other. So Brock got Bulbasaur and Charmander, Misty got Squirtle, James got Coughing, Ekans with Jesse, and Ash lastly with Pikachu. Everyone's relieved. Ash checks out everyone's here, and they obviously Jesse and James remember that they're missing Meowth, which is half the battle, and Meowth is actually hanging from the side, running to safe.
This would be one of those, given their faces whenever they realise Meowth was there, I'd be fairly sure that the Japanese version had something like, oh, you guys lost Meowth? Grand, we haven't lost much. And Meowth is like, yous pricks, I'm right here.
I was about to say, it's like, oh well, that's an acceptable loss. I mean,
yeah, because like the look on their face is like, oh, we got caught out.
Oh no, we lost Meowth, whatever shall we do? Anyway, let's get another one. One that doesn't fucking talk. mainly. So yeah, they hang from the side. James asks, "How did you make it?" Mia says, "E guy was catapulted." Badum. Tish. The rail card then takes out the giant Venusaur, Charizard and Blastoise, and Misty says they're afterwards. Now, you can see the image here. Like, there's 5 of them all scrunched up together, like big, like dead looking faces, all like almost like an arc.
No, yeah, and there's no expressions on their faces. Like they're not like annoyed with the fact that they're all trampled together, and
they're all absolutely fine with being dragged to their death. Yeah.
Yes.
Which shockingly, a lot of us wouldn't be in that situation. You'd be amazed to hear. So again, Ash says their luck might hold out. Now, I love this scene for some reason. But Jesse and James go, no. Watch this, right? So
they've been through this so many times.
Exactly, like they know they're a calamity, which actually I'm more impressed with. So they say the next thing that's gonna happen is a cable snaps.
Yeah.
Then James predicts, we're gonna be hurled into the air. That happens.
Yeah.
Mia says, we're gonna crash into something. They crash into the Zapdos. So when that happens, then they actually literally just smash through the Zapdos. So well done, guys! You killed a legendary bird.
Only they realise it's made out of like metal and bolts.
Yeah, it's an animatronic. Yeah. All this time. and then everything makes complete sense now. Everyone's like, we've actually been on a fucking amusement ride all this time. And then again, someone predicts that they're gonna crash into the water. And indeed it does. That dust now is collected as well, and they drop into the water, which is more as tradition now at some point in this Pokemon. It's like Takeshi's Castle. But literally somebody has to fall into the drink at some point in the episode, and Craig Charles will laugh at them. So then we see as that happens, we see a boat shaped like a Gyarados, and the lady says, "Welcome to Pokemon Land," where they'll see Pokemon nearly 10 times their usual size. But don't worry, as they're all mechanical.
Yeah.
When she tells everyone to turn left, we see a massive pile of broken mechanical Pokemon along the coast. And now granted, if there were kids on this ride, I haven't gone to somewhere like Chuck E. Cheese or anywhere that uses animatronics, but if you see one that's suddenly dead and the face falls off or something,
nightmare fuel.
Yeah, that's gonna fuck you up. Yeah. You know. So you turn around to see a cut in half Zapdos, a deflated Pikachu, Charizard dead, Venusaur dead, Blastoise dead.
Like, in fairness, the final forms don't look like pets. Pikachu does.
Yes.
So, seeing a pet that's deflated.
That's a massive hole through the head or something like that.
The other ones, it's not like they'd be family-friendly things anyway.
True, yeah.
But...
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But, exactly. So, when you see that, then it's like, sorry, they just don't seem to be operational at the minute. So we'll just skip that part. Now, I will say when I was watching this episode, I immediately thought this has to be a front from Team Rocket. That's why Jesse and James know about this already. We just have to get off the island.
Yeah.
They keep saying the island. So we'll get off it then. And then literally, as this next scene hits, it was like, I fucking knew it. I'm going to save that for the podcast, you shits. But the boss's phone rings, the Persian watches on, and here's that Pokemon Land has been destroyed, saying he spent millions on that place. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be planting a seed for later.
When they use the arcade as a front in the games,
yes,
this is kind of a throwback to that, or a hat tip.
It is a hat tip, yeah. It's one of their fronts, because obviously they're supposed to be a take on Yakuza's essentially, and Yakuza's will often have fronts like amusement rides or pachinko parlors and stuff like that.
I'd go further than that, and this is my own complete tinfoil on this now, but this was where Mewtwo was being tested, and the mechanical Pokemon attacked humans on sight. They were there as to guard the facility and to hide the fact that there's giant mechs. Oh, that's an amusement park. You have to stay on these rails following a set path that you're not going to be attacked. If you go off the path, the mechs attack you.
That's why there's one keep out sign to keep the genetically engineered Pokemon at bay.
But so for whatever test they have, and Team Rocket just seems to be about the whole Mewtwo thing. Yes, that they had that was part of their site for testing Mewtwo.
Interesting.
It is an interesting thought.
Why else would all of the mechs attack on site?
That's true. Yeah, that's a fair point, because in a sense, they're probably just designed to just attack whatever they see, but they're also doing fake attacks, which means presumably, if like someone just stood there as we're getting hit by the fire blast, nothing would happen. It's supposed to be like some form of like prop, but it has to be something. It's fire, you know. So it's clearly like a cannon of some kind.
Yeah.
So I see your point. Like it could easily be like a training area.
Yeah.
Not even for Mewtwo, but just generally for like other Pokemon to say like, well, if you can defeat something that's like 10 foot the size, then you'll defeat anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that kind of way. So I think you can broaden it out to that sense.
The other thing is that this is all a giant reference for Pokemon Snap. You are following a set. Ideally, you'll be following a set course.
Yeah.
On like a go-kart, and you follow. And like in the ideal case, you will see Pokemon interacting around the world around them.
No, it's very well. In fairness, like I don't think that one holds as much water because there is an actual Pokemon Snap episode. Like I think it's when they go to the Safari Zone and the guy from the game is there as his own character. So we still, I can't remember the guy's name now. In fairness, I keep saying Tracy. But
I think his name was Snap.
I don't think it was Snap. I think he actually didn't have a proper name. Well, let's call him Snap from now until we get corrected on it. Until we get to the episode. So later, then our narrator cuts in to show Misty and Brock arriving at the beautiful city of Porta Vista. Let's just ignore the fact of how they got there in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like it happened. They got there in the end. And definitely we're not charged with like millions of yen of criminal damage and trespassing and all other stuff they did. And they show endless beaches and buildings. They all exclaim about the beach and run towards it.
Yep.
As they do, we get the narrator talking about, use your sunscreen, don't do drugs, kids, all that shit. And then we cut to the slowpoke on the rock at sunset mumbling its name. And like it really has like the perfect stoner voice. It's like slow bro. And then steps up and the tail appears and we see that like a shell is biting its tail.
Yeah.
And then it realizes, the great thing about it is that like it reverses it pulls up, right? A tail and like the conch is there like on its tail and then immediately just like automatically just stands up. I was like, something's different.
Yeah.
Slow bro.
Yeah.
That's it, like it's like genuinely like proper fucking stuff there. But and that's the end of the episode. So we don't have a rocket section, we had no battles, and curiously enough, we don't have any new Pokemon either. Now you're probably wondering why we're not counting a rake load from the park. Basically because they're not real. They were mechanical. Like that's kind of cheating in a sense. You know? So and of course with Slowbro and Slowbro, only the Pokemon saw them, not Ash. Yeah. So we are being very picky about it, but with that part of the podcast, I think we can afford to be picky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a very pure filler episode all the same. Because
like I said, I loved getting to see the different Pokemon's personalities come through.
That was really good for
It's one of the few filler episodes that I say is well worth it.
Yeah.
Yes. In fairness, I was very happy with the filler episodes we have for this kind of like session we're doing, like the next few. Because they're not bad filler episodes.
Again, they're episodes that are very memorable.
Yes.
We'll get to it, but they're memorable episodes where they all have a bit of a motto.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But also as well, you kind of got that the boss of Team Rocket introduction.
It's a bit of a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It's the first time you see him. Yeah.
And I think think it's nicely kind of hidden amongst the main storyline of the Pokemon.
Yeah, very true.
Where the Pokemon is actually the
crux of the episode. Yeah, I get you.
And everything else is B plot. So it was a good episode. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed even going back and watching it again. It wasn't the most painful thing to watch, as some of these episodes can be.
Yes, which we'll get to later.
Yes.
But how about yourself, James? Was it one of your particular?
Oh yeah, this one absolutely is one of the few filler episodes that I would say I would happily come back and watch.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I think we all kind of agree on that front, don't we?
Yeah.
So there you go.
There we go. Happy out.
And like I said, no Pokedex, no rocket gimmicks. That's the end of our show.
Yeah.
So, again, these are the type of filler episodes we can piss through very quickly because nothing much happens in the end.
I mean, it only took us 9 months to get that episode watched.
This is it, I mean, that's what took so long, was they're trying to find a good thing on Netflix. You know, they took them all down, brought them back for 9 months. That's clearly what it was, you know. Anyway, but until then, guys, thank you very much for listening to this one. You might want to stick around for next week's episode because we've got a bit of a humdinger next week. We're going to be talking about the episode Beauty and the Beach, and if you happen to be watching on Netflix, you're wondering, what the fuck is this episode? I can't see it. That's because it's one of the banned episodes.
This is not the one that killed people.
No, it's not. Not that one, no. But it's problematic in different reasons. If anything, it's a summary of, well, Japan is weird, isn't it? Like, and we will get to that next week. But for now, thank you very much for listening. If you've been listening on the Low Blows Network, by all means listen to all of their content as well. Do very good stuff, including their general wrestling podcast and their Ask Low Blows section and all the other stuff they do. You may be watching the video version on the Nerds World's channel. By all means subscribe and for more nerdy stuff. Or perhaps you're watching or listening indeed on our Monday Madness feed. You can follow us on Twitter at Monday Madness LP to all the hot content we do. And it is nice and hot based on our subscriber base. I'm not going to say why I have a subscriber base during lockdown, but you guys have to guess how. But yeah, guys, thank you for listening.
Woo.
And we'll see you for the next episode.
See yous.
Fucking Biscoffing. Honestly, you should be ashamed of yourself.